live already started. So Trump's talking about, what's that word? Something about aborting another day. Do you think people watch my live? I changed the channel to, you know that one black guy has got millionaires morning show, and I turned it into the poor man's morning show. You know, watch it. I resonate with more people. Millionaires morning show. Ontario, Canada, that stuff. That's what's I thought YouTube told us how to work Ontario, Canada. Yeah, that gas station we told us, took a sip of it, and I got a mouthful of turtle
Try to get multiple Canadian power centers. Washington.
Maybe a grappling after that.
Long term.
Does anyone have a grappling hook I can use? First floor, the first floor over there in that, the stairways collapsed. I need a grappling hook to get up to the top up there. Oh wow, there's an outside stairwell? No way to access it.
Chooses confrontation over cooperation. The problem isn't up north. It's how America misjudges its power in a world where trade wars aren't fought with tariffs alone, but with the very
Caught you on lunch break. Hope you're having a great day. I haven't puked yet. I guess you could say that's good, right? I almost I'm close to throwing up. I guess you could say that's good. I haven't thrown up yet. Oh, this tunnel up there is badass. I can't wait to take the barrel. Just wrap that shit going through it.
Canada's exports flowed into the U.S. market. But by 2025, that flow began to shift.
What
The
time is
reason
it where
for
you're
this
at?
shift
Wonderful
is
that you're
not
on lunch at
just
11 o'clock.
political or competitive. It's the instability in U.S.
Mostly
trade
ice in
policies,
Chicago.
making it difficult for businesses to predict what will happen next. When companies like PNP Pharmaceuticals
I wanna know when ice is gonna
Company
go
in
to
British
the,
Columbia
Rangers.
started seeking markets in Asia or even reducing
are.
their sales in the U.S. It reflected a clear trend. Businesses are looking for ways to
Oh, here,
mitigate
the chilly morning.
We're so sad the
Too
way we
much
fought. It's
base.
so ridiculous. We fight not to win, but we didn't used to be that way. And we're celebrating because I think the day in Afghanistan,
Oh, no, no.
celebrate, and that's what we're doing. So it's on June 14th, and it's going to be a parade the likes of which I don't know if we've ever had a parade like that. It's going to be incredible. We have even though it's the Army, we have a lot of those Army airplanes flying over the top.
Happy
We have
Juneteenth, everybody.
tanks all over the place, and we have thousands and thousands of
don't wanna
soldiers
celebrate
who have
Juneteenth,
bravely
maybe?
marched down the streets. It's going to be a beautiful day, I think, and we're going to celebrate our country.
You spoke of leadership, and real quick, speaking of Gavin Newsom, is he the right leader for California, considering how massive their economy is and all this U.S. investments coming in? Is he the right governor, leader for the future of California and for
I don't
U.S.
think he
investors?
is. I mean, I think he's done a terrible job. And, you know, as a guy, I've always got along with him. You look at his past statements about me. I was a great president. I always took care of California, you know, all that. But I'm just talking on results. You look, you know, here's the advantage of beautiful weather, maybe the best weather of any state when you think about it. Beautiful weather, beautiful ocean, beautiful everything. You have all the advantages, and he didn't take advantage of that. And he's let people come in by the millions who are overrunning your hospitals, your
Yes, they
education
are.
system, and your police. Your police are being overrun. Look at
They're
what's
living in our
happening.
police stations.
He should only be happy I sent in the military, because if I didn't send them in, you would have had a problem there, the likes of which we haven't seen in a long time. Yeah, please. Thank you, Brian, very much.
flight, on supersonic
Oh,
flight.
more people.
Supersonic.
What's up,
Yes, sir.
Anonymous? How
I know you just signed an executive order on it. See a supersonic Air Force One in the next 10 years
What
or so?
goes on
Well,
here?
I don't care too much about
Trump's
that.
speaking
But
about
I would
stuff.
like to see, you know, if you think about it, flight,
Are
the
you
word flight's an
avoiding
interesting word, but it's
ICE?
probably
No, I'm
the
not
only
avoiding ICE. I'm a
category
U.S.
where
citizen. Why
we've
would I need
actually
to
gone
avoid
backwards.
ICE?
Because we used to
I
have the
was born
Concorde,
here. There's no reason
and we
I
could
need to
fly
avoid
to
ICE.
London Bridge
I want
very
ICE to
quickly
go to that
and
fucking marine
nicely.
base. This is the tunnel
And
bay right
today it
here.
takes you 2 times, 3 times as long. It's the only thing we'll
Crazy as hell. And
regress.
hear the back pressure
By the
go
way, the
through.
Concorde, to
You'll hear
my
the
way of
top go all the way
thinking,
down
to
the
this
tunnel.
day, Michael, because you're very much into
Hear the
aesthetic,
vroom,
you know,
vroom, it'll go all the
but
way
to
down
this
the
day
tunnel.
was one of the most beautiful
This is
pieces
a
of art
perfect
I've ever
tunnel
seen. It was a piece
to
of art.
rev your
The beauty
engine
of the
through
Concorde
in
was
this
the most
tunnel.
beautiful plane, but it was, you know, got you there in half the time. Now you spend a lot of time,
And then they can have
and
a car meet right here.
there's no reason for it. Because, you know, they have the sonic boom. It's
Right
not
here.
a huge
This would be a
problem, but they
perfect
have the
intersection
sonic
for the
boom thing
car
pretty well
right here.
figured
They
out.
got that long tunnel pocket thing,
The
so they can block off these
technology
4 lanes.
changes, the change in the
Why
skin,
didn't it go
the
up that
change
Boring
in
Street over
weight.
there?
You know,
That street would be good
there's
for
no
a
reason
car
why
meet
we
down
shouldn't
there,
do it.
actually.
So we are making it possible for them to do supersonic and get us back on the track. I mean, think of it, 30 years ago, we actually had planes that flew much faster than we do now. It took you half the time to get to a location. So we've regressed, and we're going to progress. Okay? It's sort of an amazing thing, isn't it? We've gone backwards. On Wall Street, they haven't done that. And Goldman Sachs was like that. You wouldn't have Goldman Sachs anymore. Yeah, please.
Are you going to deploy Marines in California?
We'll see what happens. I think we have it very well under control. I think it would have been a very bad situation if it was heading in the wrong direction. It's now heading in the right direction, and we hope to have the support of Gavin, because Gavin's the big beneficiary as we straighten out his problems. I mean, his state is a mess, and I'd like to get somebody involved in the rail because, look, President,
There's Revitec fungicide, and it's everything else. Because Revitec fungicide can outyield other fungicides by up to 9.5 bushels per acre. When every acre counts, choose the soybean fungicide recommended #1 by growers.
glove limousine service back and forth, we would have saved billions of dollars as opposed to building this monstrosity that's going on. And I've never seen anything. You know, I've seen cost overruns. I'm a person, I've always done well on cost overruns. I don't have them. But I will tell you, I have never seen cost overruns. You see them where they're 20% more, 50, 100% more. These are thousands of percent. Nobody even knows. They have no idea. And it was supposed to be from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Well, they just made it way outside of Los Angeles, where it's stopping in the middle of, I don't want to say nowhere, because I happen to like one of those little cities very much, but it's way short of the destination. And our government is saying, you know, why are we involved in this thing? It's been handled so
Canada guy,
badly
what's up?
before him, but he really blew it. So, you know, all right, one more question.
Come to the G7 in Canada, where important people
On the
meet.
what?
The G Summit?
No, I don't want to speak
I'm
to discussions.
alright. I'm not trying to go to the G7 in Canada. Your
we
skies
have
finally
discussions on
look
many
clear.
topics.
Yeah, your
We have a
fires
group
finally
of
started
people, large
raging in
group of
Canada.
people,
Our skies are pretty clear, actually.
including
today.
generals and admirals and lots of others. And all I can say is our country's in great shape. We're in great shape economically. The bill that Mike and Jason and all the people are working on is going to be, I think, amazing. I think it's going to be
Oh,
one
what
of the
the
most
fuck?
important pieces
The
of
fuck is that guy
legislation
got on
we've
his
ever had in
fucking
this
shit?
country. It's going to do things that you wouldn't
What the
believe.
fuck
And
is that?
we're going to have a very simple phrase. We ran an election on very simple words: make America great again. That's what we're doing. We're making it great.
So
We're
those
making
real
it safe.
Jewish
We're
people?
making it beautiful. And we're making it very wealthy again.
Why?
You know, wealth is okay. You need wealth
to be honest.
to take care of lots of other
Trying to
people.
kill all
We
the
have to
Jews?
make our country
Trying to
better.
kill all the
It has to heal from 4 years of abuse. Our country was abused badly by a very incompetent person and a group of people that weren't incompetent, but they were radical left
You should be
lunatics.
flying to
And they ran the country with an autoplane. And
Imagine if I went to their
hope
country
that
and flew
law enforcement's
An
looking at
American
that.
flag.
Seriously, that's like a takeover of our country.
Imagine if I went there and I put out my window with these flags. What do you think would happen to me? Their country, and I had two flags out my window, American, like they
Years
got.
ago, by the way, years ago.
What do you think would happen to me, man?
He was bad 40 years
think they
ago.
were good
I'm just talking
Do
about.
you think they would rip
I
me
mean, I
out of the
always
car
like to
and
say
kill me?
age, but it's not age. I know people 88, 89, 92.
Right.
Bernie Marcus, who just passed away, was 95. I spoke to him a year before. He was 100%. It's not age. It's something else. But whatever it is, you can't have that in this country. The damage he's done to this country is unbelievable. But the good news is we've got much of it fixed already, and the rest of it will happen.
Prime Minister Netanyahu, you just mentioned Iran. Did you discuss Iran?
We
The
discussed a
Gaza
lot of
situation,
things.
the Gaza war.
Yeah, we discussed a lot of things very well. Very smooth. We'll see what happens. You know, we're trying to do with the country we just spoke about. I think you should negotiate this. I think I'm going to send you today. What a good idea. This could have been the idea of the day. We'll have Darren get up and negotiate. They are good negotiators, but they're tough. Sometimes they can be too tough. That's the problem. So we're trying so that
I would like to go, but I don't.
Him that, and I've told him that, and I hope that's the way it works
I do
out.
want to
But
come to us, though.
we'll soon
You guys
find
got a
out.
Toys R
Yeah.
Us right by Detroit. When it's in Canada.
Arrest in
Then again, we
American
got
cities
Toys R Us
and
in
said,
America.
quote, we have to go by the laws. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor. What changed now? Why is this situation different to not consult with Governor Newsom about it?
Well, the biggest change from last segment is we have an incompetent governor. So I talked about governors, but I didn't talk about he's an incompetent governor. Look at the job he's doing in California. He's destroying one of our great states. And if I didn't get involved, if we didn't bring the guard in, and we would bring more in if we needed it, because we have to make sure there's going to be law and order. You had a disaster happening. And they now admit it was a disaster. I watched the chief yesterday. He was a good man, by the way. And he said, well, we're lucky we did this because they were overwhelmed. They saw what was happening. So we did the right thing. Everybody agrees to that. But you have a governor who let the city burn down, didn't want water to be sent down to him. He sent billions of gallons of water. I wanted to do it in the first time. I wouldn't do it over. They have environmental reasons, but there are no environmental reasons. It's, I think it's just a political philosophy. But it's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time.
That's a nice fucking. I see what John was talking about. I think this is the one he did, like, he did all that stuff on this train station for some reason. I think he said, like, why are they investing so much money in this train station? I forgot why.
I think his primary crime is running for
That's a
governor
nice
because
fucking.
he's done
That's
such a
a
bad
quite.
job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And
That's the one that goes under. That's the one that goes under Lake Street. That's the one that I drifted
hundreds of
underneath.
thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners, are taking up your health care, they're taking up your space in schools, they're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals. And we have to do something about it. And we're doing something about it. I want to thank the incredible patriots of ICE and Tom Holman, who's been incredible, and Kristi Noem, likewise incredible. The job they're doing. And it's like an unforced error. There was no reason for this. 21 million people were allowed into our country, and many of those people were criminals. And it's a shame. It's a shame. But we're getting them out. And I will say, I think it's a 95-5 issue, just like so many other issues, 95-5. And the Democrats lost an election in a landslide because they were on the wrong side of the issues. I mean, it's not even conceivable that somebody would do the kind of things that he did. And then, you talk about projects. They want to build a train going from San Francisco to LA, and it's costing hundreds of billions of dollars more than they thought it was going to cost. It's not even believable. To Brad and to people sitting here, would you believe that a train that was going to cost X dollars and it might be 100 times X
Would have paid for this for about 50 million American children.
You're right.
50 million American children instead of a 3-mile train track that never got built.
We could have put Lincoln in charge with no experience. He would have done a good job. I guarantee you that. All right, please, Peter.
Mr. President, have you gotten
an update from your negotiating?
It seems like Gavin Newsom likes the attention that he's getting right now from
I do,
you.
yeah.
It seems like he does. If you look at recent history, somebody who was running for president, you, who got arrested and had a mugshot, you could make the argument that politically that wound up helping you. Are you worried at all at this moment that talking about him getting arrested could be helpful to his political prospects? Because a lot of people think he wants to be sitting right where you are.
In my case, it was a witch hunt, and everybody knew it, and I was able to explain that during the process, otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And it was a total witch hunt. It's proven to be a witch hunt, and you see what's happened. In his case, it really is very obvious. You look at what's happened between the fires, I could name 10 things right now. We talk about the trains, we talk about all of the costs in California, you talk about all of the people that are flowing and destroying life for everyone else. So no, I don't think it's going to help him. I think it's actually very bad for him.
And right around the time that we were walking in here, the governor and the state attorney general said that they're going to sue you for sending the National Guard in. They're saying there's no invasion, there's no rebellion. The president is trying to manufacture chaos and crisis on the ground for his own political ends. Federalizing the California National Guard is an abuse of the president's authority under law.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You watch the same clips as I did. Cars burning all over the place, people riding. And by the way, we stopped it. We were able to make it much better, but it still looked pretty bad. And in watching clips last night, people were saying this is really a big problem. And until we went in, if we didn't do the job, that place would be burning down just like the houses burned down. They were in big trouble last night, Peter. You know, and the night before, and the night before that. And I feel we had no choice. I don't want to see what happened so many times in this country. I watched Minneapolis burn. I watched, look at what happened in so many different parts of California. You take a look at what happened in San Diego. There's so many different places where we let it burn. We want to be politically correct. We wanted to be nice. We want to be nice to the criminal. And what you're doing is destroying the fabric of our life in this country. No, we did the right thing. We've been given credit by people that I would least suspect. I would say that some of the people that came in and said, thank goodness, they said, some of them, thank God that Trump got involved. And I'm very happy I got involved. And I think Gavin, in his own way, is probably happy I got involved. Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
What do you make of the fact that he says you want a civil war on the streets of America?
It's just the opposite. I don't want a civil war. Civil war would happen if you left it to people like him. And I like him. You know, I always got along with him. Never had a problem with him. But he's grossly incompetent. Okay.
London, have you gotten an update from your team in London negotiating? Have you gotten an update from your team in London negotiating with China trade talks?
We are doing well with China. China's not easy. Just like your home country is not easy there. I think we're doing very well. They're over there now. I'm only getting reports a little early, but they'll be calling in soon. In fact, probably when I get back, I'll have my phone from them. We want to open up China. And if we don't open up China, maybe we won't do anything, but we want to open up China. It'd be a great thing for China, a great thing for the rest of the world.
Export controls when it comes to China, did you give your negotiators any sort of limitations?
Look, China has been ripping off the United States for many years. Nobody charged them 10 cents. No president had the courage to charge China for whatever reason. They didn't want to do it.
I know, because he's not walking.
I took
He's riding
in
on that bike.
hundreds of
That's why that
billions of
dog's so
dollars I
fat.
put on
He's always getting on a
tariffs
bike
on
ride
China
instead of
when I got in
walking.
first term.
Should make that dog
And we
run.
took in hundreds.
If you're paying more than $42 a month for home insurance, you're off. Here's how to fix it. I didn't know I was overpaying on home insurance until my friend sent me this site that compares rates and discounts available to me. With just a few clicks, I slashed my monthly home insurance bill to only $40 a month.
And we cut the deficit in half. And it was a big story a couple of days ago. They said, I don't believe one of the announcers on a business network went wild, said, I can't believe these numbers. Those numbers are good. The numbers are going to be very good. I think we're going to have a great 4 years. You know, we had the greatest economy in history during my 4 years. I think this one's going to blow it away.
I need them to start getting the gas prices down.
Right.
Do you have a message for Greta Thunberg? And did she come up on your call with the Prime Minister today?
Well, she's a strange person. She's a young, angry person. I don't know if it's real anger. It's hard to believe, actually. But I saw what happened. She's certainly different. Anger management. I think she has to go to an anger management class. That's my primary recommendation for her.
As she says? Was she kidnapped?
I find it. I think Israel has enough problems without kidnapping Greta Thunberg.
And secondly, are you going
Is that
to
what she said? She was kidnapped by Israel?
get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink service that you have here at the White House?
No, I haven't heard that. I mean, I may move the Tesla around a little bit, but I don't think we'll be doing that with Starlink. It's a good service.
Where are you going to move it to? Move it around. What do you mean?
I have a lot of locations. I got so many locations that I don't know what to do with them all.
Did you ever see Elon Musk get physical with the Treasury Secretary?
No, I didn't.
Right.
I tried to
They
ask.
did have an
Or
argument,
they'll ask him like,
but
how many
I didn't
times
see
did
it.
he get
I didn't see a
physical
lot of
with the president? How many
physicality.
times did he do drugs?
New York Times report that he did not want to talk about Elon Musk, that alleged that he, towards the end of his time in the White House, was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal.
Right here. They asked
Do you
him
think
for
he
a
ever
fourth
had
time.
drugs here?
I really
Did you
don't
already
know. I don't think so. I hope not. Look, I wish him well. You understand. Relationship, and I just wish him well.
In Gaza, you mentioned now the flotilla. Do you have a response at all about Israel intercepting this boat? And can you give us an update on what's happening to the entry of aid into Gaza right now? We've had people being shot by Israeli forces who are trying to get aid
Gaza is
from the
right
Gaza
now-
Humanitarian
yeah.
Foundation. Yes.
Gaza right now is in the midst of a massive negotiation between us and Hamas and Israel and Iran actually is involved. And we'll see what's going to happen with Gaza. We want to get the hostages back. That's all I can tell you. Yeah, please, in the back.
The States have taken a few American citizens from Israel. We got them back. Who cares?
On True Social a bit later.
Move on.
Said they were insurrectionists. After what you
You're
said.
talking about in L.A.?
Yes, sir. In LA.
I wouldn't call it quite an insurrection, but it could have led to an insurrection. I mean, that was a lot of
I got five
That was a lot of harm that was going on last night. I watched it very closely. And it was amazing that the job that the National Guard did. And by the way, the police were working very hard also. But, you know, the police are given instructions to be politically correct. I said, no, you don't have to be politically correct. You have to do the job. Which one?
On Elon Musk. You plan to speak
I hadn't really thought about it, actually. I would imagine he wants to speak to me. I would think so. If I were him, I'd want to speak to me. But and maybe he was already called. You'd have to ask him whether or not he's already called. But I'd have no problem with it.
On both sides.
Well, I don't want to say that, but but I would imagine he'd want to talk to me.
What was that thing?
Yeah, please.
Proposal from Iran today. Have you gotten that proposal? And what is the main impediment?
We have a meeting with Iran on Thursday, so we're going to wait till Thursday.
And what's
for
the
that
main
proposal.
impediment to getting a deal?
Well, they're just asking for things that you can't do. They don't want to give up what they have to give up. You know what that is. They seek enrichment. We can't have enrichment. We want just the opposite. And so far, they're not there.
How do you know that?
I hate to say that because the alternative is a very, very dire one. But they're not there. They have given us their thoughts on the deal. And I said, it's just not acceptable.
And you said the only one who said that was actually another guy last
I
night.
would say, yeah. I don't know what else I can talk about the weather.
Venezuelans stand out so much.
Pretty much that's the main topic. Yeah.
Mr. President.
We talked about Lebanon also. Yeah, we did. Well, Lebanon's working very hard. They have a great new ambassador that I put there. Man, I know very well. He's very smart. I didn't even know he was Lebanese. And I said, why would you want Lebanon? He said, I was born there. I love it. I love the people. I said, you know, it's very dangerous going to Lebanon. There are some ambassadorships that are wonderful. There are some that are dangerous. I said, Michel, his name is. It's a he, Michel, very elegant man. And I said, why would you want this? And he said, because I love my country and I love those people. I said, it's very dangerous. He goes, I don't care. This is not a man that lived on danger. He's a very successful man from here. And he wanted to be the ambassador despite probably a very dangerous situation he's going into. You see what's going on. But I had great respect for he loves that country. He loves it. He was born there. He loves the country. Yeah.
Mr. President, you've got a big, beautiful parade coming up on Saturday.
We do.
What's your biggest expectations for that? And I've got a second question in regards to Gavin Newsom. Go ahead and talk about the beautiful parade.
It's such a, thank you, Brian. It's such a, I think, important moment for this country. You know, 2 weeks ago I was calling people and back and forth with leaders, including President Putin, including French president, including lots of different people. And all of them said, we're celebrating victory in World War II. And I said, wow, isn't that amazing? We're the only one that wasn't celebrating, and we're the one that won the war. Now, Russia did help. They did lose 51 million people in all fairness. People say, oh, we're sticking up for Russia. No, they lost 51 million people. And, you know, can't forget that. But France was celebrating. And, as you know, Hitler made a speech at the Eiffel Tower. But when I spoke to President Macron, he said, oh, we are celebrating the great victory of World War II. And I think that's great that he was doing it. But we're the one that won it, and we weren't celebrating. I said to myself, isn't that crazy? And I think it's time for us to celebrate a little bit. You know, we've had a lot of victories. We won 2 world wars. And then we go out and change the name of forts where we won the wars. You go out, we win world wars from Fort Robert E. Lee, from Fort Bragg, from all the different forts. And what do? We change the name of the forts because we want to be politically correct. So a lot of them we're changing back. You probably noticed Fort Bragg, others. But I think it's a time to celebrate our military. You know, we've rebuilt our military largely.
And there's an old ice cream place.
And ammunition. That's because it goes out very fast to other countries, one in particular.
They're going fast. There's
But
4 left.
we'll get
If you
that
want
back
them, they're
very quickly.
$4.99.
But we have a military the likes of which nobody has. Nobody comes close. We have the best
going
equipment in the
extremely
world.
fast.
We make the
They're
best
stickers.
equipment
You
in the
can turn
world.
it, and I think they
There's
get
no military like our
You can put 'em
military.
on your
We showed that
bumper.
with ISIS. I was told by the
$4.99
television generals it would take 4
About
years to
3
win.
left.
And we did it
So
in
there's
3
4
weeks.
left,
And it was
4
headed by General Raisin Kane, who's now the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of
So
Staff. He's
comment
great.
if you want
Just left
those.
him.
While I'm in Arturo's.
I think it's time that we celebrate. And I sort of
Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and thumbs up.
You're going to spend a lot of money